Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4NEWS, Global TV, V4 Stream, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today our topic is importance of education. But before I will go on the topic, I would like to inform you that today is the International Day of Happiness. The International Day of Happiness is celebrated throughout the world on the 20th of March. It was established by the United Nations General Assembly on 20th June 2012. United Nations designated day to recognize the importance of happiness in the lives of people around the world. India has been ranked 139 out of 149 countries in the list of UN World Happiness Report 2021 released on Friday, which is topped by Finland. Amid the COVID-19 pandemic, on International Day of Happiness, it is important to tell each other that we are never alone. Togetherness in a crisis situation is key to happiness. According to experts, when we are kinder and together, we are happier and we can spread happiness. Media conference with Lal Goel wish that the pursuit of happiness will be the fundamental human goal of every citizen and it should be achieved, and especially our country, which has done very poorly the last year. Now we are coming to today's topic, and that is importance of education. A child without education is like a bird without wings. It's a very famous Tibetan proverb. Education is the process of receiving or giving systematic instruction, especially at a school or university. Education gives us a knowledge of the world around us and changes it into something better. It develops in us a perspective of looking at life. It helps us build opinions and have points of view on things in life. People debate over the subject of whether education is the only thing that gives knowledge. Education began in prehistory as adults trained the young in the knowledge and skills deemed necessary in their society. In pre-literate societies, this was achieved orally and through imitation. Proper and good education is very important for all of us. It facilitates quality learning, although the life among people of any age, group, caste, creed, religion, and reason. It is the process of achieving knowledge, values, skills, beliefs, and moral habits. People need to get high-level awareness about the importance of knowledge more than before. Education is very necessary for each and everyone in order to improve knowledge, way of living, as well as social and economic status throughout the life. Getting proper education is the birthright of everyone, restricting which is the crime. Education is the ultimate way to get victory over all the personal and social problems. Education is very important to all of us as it plays very important roles in our life. In order to live a better and peaceful life, we need to be educated. It transforms us completely from inside and outside by changing our mind and personality as well as improving our confidence level. It changes our life completely as it is constructive in nature. It helps a person to get knowledge and improve confidence level all through the life. It plays a great role in our career growth as well as in the personal growth. It has no limitation. People of any age group can get education anytime. It helps us to determine about good and bad things. An educated person having good education becomes the good citizen in the society. We all want to see our kids going towards success, which is only possible through the good and proper education. Every parent tells their kids from childhood about the importance of education in the life and the advantages of education to make their mind towards better study in the future. And to discuss today's very, very important and relevant topic, importance of education, we have a very elite, educated, experienced panel with us who are the leaders in their field. I would like to invite my first guest, and he is Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran is the former visiting professor, IIM Lucknow and University of Texas at Dallas, USA. He is the director of Aldo Private Limited, New Delhi. He has done his MBA from IIM Ahmedabad in 1980. He did PhD in 1986. He started teaching and researching business and entrepreneurship since 1984. He published research papers in reputed journals, international seminar, proceedings, and chapters in books of readings. He started academic administration phase as a dean in 1997, rising to executive director, controlling management and engineering institutes in 2007. Her Highness Governor of Karnataka nominated Dr. Saran to the Senate of Bangalore University in recognition of his distinguished academic contributions. He was visiting professor to University of Texas at Dallas from 2012 to 2019. He also visited Washington State University and President University, Indonesia, on the invitation of the Dean Faculty of Business in 2018. He innovated and implemented a unique model to double the turnover with existing infrastructure in one accounting year. He is co-promoter of Institute of Family Business Management Society. He is honorary director of NCR Delhi-based high-tech B2B digital startup. He is also co-founder of OWGI Foundation, which promotes social entrepreneurship ventures. Welcome, Dr. Sudhir Saran, on our show. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, you are associated with academics from the very beginning, and also now you are also associated with the academics. You are looking after the Don Bosco Institutes, Bangalore and Mysore. Now, we would like to know from you the importance of education. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, please.
Thank you, Mr. Lal Goel. On this International Day of Happiness, it is my honor to accept that you are the biggest source of happiness to us in Gyan. It is also my privilege to extend my regards to co-panelists. All are very distinguished people. And since we are cautioned that we are short on time, we have to maintain 10-minute deadline. So without much ado, let me start trying to convey what is the importance of education. The best way to understand education is to look at this fruit. This is an orange, or its sister fruit. This is what we locally called another citrus, Musambi. Now, these two fruits are big sources of vitamin C and other nutrients. The importance of education can be best understood if I took one of these fruits, and tried to extract the juice. If I have minimal education, which is zero formal education, only informal education, that we will define as minimal education, then I will take this fruit and peel it, squeeze it with my bare hands. You can visualize the amount of juice I will be able to extract. Then suppose I have some amount of formal education, let's say up to high school. That is like having those daily market devices made of plastic, which has two parts. You cut the orange in two and squeeze each half on the surface, juice comes down in the base. And the third one is having adequate amount of education as your circumstances permit. graduation, post-graduation, doctorate, postdoctorate. So that is like having a juicer of very high efficiency, and I put the orange in that juicer and it extracts maximum amount of juice. And then one final not obvious level of education is where I have self-educated myself. Mind my words. The final education is where I self-educate myself. For a simple examination, don't take it otherwise. The example is I went to IIM Ahmedabad for a MBA in 78, completed in 1980 with honors. I was a government scholar. Now, after that, in 1980 till today in 2021, I have the desire to learn more and more of management as a discipline, the theory of it, the practice of it. And I have reached certain insights which are not there in the books, what we say learning from the school of life. If I reach that level of education, then this orange is put through solvent extraction process where every drop of the goodness in it is extracted. So these are the 5 levels of education, and the importance of education is maximum at the 5th level and maximum at the 0 level. The two ends are the most important. Those who don't have the good luck to go to the formal education, they have to realize the importance of education, and perhaps life teaches them that. The next level is when we are self-educating after formal education is over, going to the school of life, then there is there. And as you said right at the beginning, it's a coincidence that today is Day of Happiness. The importance of education is equipping us to get the every drop of happiness God and life have reserved for us, like the juice in this orange. I think I don't want to elaborate too much. I want to mention a few other things. In my institution, at any level of education, when a student comes, I do not discriminate by way of tuition fee that we charge. My teachers deliver the same input to them. We provide the same classroom. The student who understands the importance of education is the one who takes more from the system than the student who does not realize the importance of education. So importance of education itself is an important topic so that we get the maximum from the education. And finally, without education, a flower is without beauty and fragrance. And therefore, for human beings, the importance of education is God makes us a flower. It is our job to put beauty and fragrance in it. Thank you, Mr. Lal Goel. I'll save some time so that we can have some question answer. Thank you very much. Hope my point was clear.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, for giving the illustration about the education, the importance of education. I'm sure that this type of simple, what you are showing, the practical aspects, is definitely very good experience, and it enrich our viewers definitely what is the importance of education. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, for giving views. Now I'm inviting my next panelist guest, and he is Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal is the former Professor of Marketing, Innovation and Management, IIM Lucknow, XLRI Jamshedpur, and California State University, USA. He is President of Indo-Gulf Marketing Association. He is US Fulbright Fellow, Boston, EFMD Fellow, Paris, and British Council Fellow, London. In 2019, he was ranked among the 251 most fabulous global education leaders. Welcome, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, you have heard Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran and the way he has explained the importance of education. Now, we would like to know from you the importance of education. Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, please.
Thank you very much, Goel Saab, and greetings to you, greetings to Sudhir ji, Pawan ji, Manisha, Ruxana. Very, very nice. I'm so sorry, I'm taking this thing during Corona. In other words, that I'm a suspected Corona person and being confined into a hotel in Dubai. So that's why you're not seeing me. But I didn't want to miss the appointment that I had given to Mr. Goel because he's very important for me. Now, given this situation of education in this country, elsewhere, it is not too hard to say that education is extremely important. In many ways, we can justify this assertion, and there are evidences also that this assertion is not unreasonable. The first is that without education, a person can also, live their life and perhaps beautifully, and also as good as a person who is educated. So then, what is the differentiator in terms of education and non-education? Probably the differentiator is the speed with which you get to know things, and you get to know faster when you are educated than when you have to learn on their own. So the biggest contribution of education anywhere is that you can get to the point, you can get to the masses, you can get to the meaning of any situation faster and perhaps more accurately than others would have. So this is the first thing I would say. Acceleration of experiential knowledge is faster. Experiential knowledge is important, but in the case of education, it gives you the gist of that in a very, very short defined time. The second aspect of educational importance or importance of education is that you are able to hold your conversation with others at the same level without feeling embarrassed at any point of yourself, or perhaps making the other person feel uncomfortable when somebody has to ask the question, what the hell we are talking. So as a result, this education provides a kind of a ground rule, an even platform where people can talk to each other. So communication becomes easier. Communication becomes more functional. Com- Communication becomes much, much more efficient. So for efficiency purpose also, education makes the difference. I always remember with a very tongue-in-cheek kind of thing that there used to be a very, very well-known industrialist from Dubai who hold here, rather held here one of the biggest business empire. Some of us who know the Dubai, they will know, and it is called Max Electronics and this and that. His name was Chabadia. Now, Chabadia became very rich in Dubai. He wasn't very highly educated. And thereafter, he went to India and bought one of the biggest companies of East India called the Shaw Wallace. Shaw Wallace was making some of the finest products and services, and it was like one of the top two companies of Calcutta, other than ITC. So one day he enrolled himself into Harvard Business School Advanced Management Program. And somebody said that you are a COO or CEO of such a big company. And why do you need to come to Harvard Business School to study what you are already doing? So he was a very frank, candid speaker. So he said, he used a word which I cannot use on the television, but he used a thing by saying, I want to understand what my SOB managers are speaking in the meetings, because they are using so many slangs, so many words that I don't understand, and I am just here to understand what the hell these people are talking. This proves the point of second one, which I mentioned, that at a topical conversation, when you are educated, you are able to hold the conversation without feeling embarrassed or without making the other person feel uncomfortable that what are you saying. The third is that education gives you employability. It doesn't give you employment necessarily, but it gives you employability. So what is employability? Employability is the way in which you can find a job anywhere in the world without having to worry where will I be doing if I want to. Why? Because it has provided you hopefully the right amount of education, the right amount of skills, and right amount of understanding where to apply, how to apply. And that is why people are able to jump jobs, even from manufacturing to service, service to IT, IT to NGO, NGO to government, government, because they have the education. The education, the way I have explained to you, not the education that they have in terms of degrees or diplomas or anything, because they have what is known as employability. So this is the third thing that I would like to say, impact of education. And as a result, it will be very difficult, to imagine that an educated person is sleeping hungry or waking up hungry and does not know where the next meal will come from. I will be very, very surprised that an education person is asking a question like that.
One moment, please. One moment. One moment. Dr. Ruxana, please mute yourself. Dr. Ruxana, please mute yourself.
He wanted to show you to another lady.
I think you have joined from two devices. Please mute both the devices and log out from one device. It's a live telecast, Dr. Ruxana. Please cooperate. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, continue, Professor Dr. Mohan. Sorry.
Thank you. So that is why I was saying employability. And that's why I distinguish it from career or from job, but from employability. At any point of time, an employable person can find a job. At any point of time, if an employable person can jump from one job to another, because the skills, the knowledge, the requisite competencies are already with that person. So the question then arises that why people hate education in some forums, especially the people like Chabadiya or people like others who sometimes discount the education. They think we are theoretician. They think that we are easy arm people. They think that we are only thinking, and at some point of time they even disparage the educators as if that they have no experience. Thankfully, that particular distinction is now over. Thankfully, because of the tertiary level of education, the highest level of education, which could be either medical or legal or managerial or technical, where they are able to talk in practical terms the things which practicing managers are facing. In other words, there's no gap between a professor of management or marketing and a marketing manager. Like I was surprised, just about 5 days ago, I completed a training program for energy companies. And one of them was the CEO of a cold chain of transportation who is now managing the vertical of this vaccine to take from one place to another. And I have received several things. He said, Dr. Mohan, please advise us how to do better, because you have so much experience as you have shared that in the training room. Clearly, there is no gap between theory and practice, between education and experiential education, if both parties have transcended the gap. And that gap will be transcended when you talk their language, they talk also as far as possible your language, and which is only when continuous learning, lifelong learning. So education is not an event. Education is a journey. And this particular journey has several miles. Thankfully, to this COVID, we have got number of learning opportunities from one of the top institutions like Harvard or Michigan or others, where we can learn from their professors sitting at home. So, and millions of people are taking advantage of it. And many of them are CEOs and all that. So clearly we are saying that education has an impact for the people, and that particular impact and importance is there. So there are many things which I can keep on going, but in the interest of time and in the interest of listening to my co-panelists, I would hand it now back to Mr. Goel for his analysis, and we'll come back later whenever he calls us. Thank you, Mr. Goel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. for giving your views, and you have elaborated almost everything why the education is important. Definitely in my next round of question, I am going to not grill you, but rather I will ask you why, according to you, the education is important.
Married life is also grilling, sir. So I'm experienced for 41 years.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mohan Agrawal. For that, I will keep a different media conference, and definitely I will take you as a guest in that. Now, I would like to invite my next guest, and he is Mr. Pawan Kumar Mishra. Mr. Pawan Kumar Mishra is a renowned author, transpersonal coach, mentor, practicing Vedic astrologer, and Vastu consultant. In his book, Living Hanuman, he offers a syncretic commentary unifying the streams of world religious and wisdom traditions. His work consists of applied spirituality. Ancient wisdom, primarily Vedic, is presented in the forms which can be practically lived in modern day life. He has acquired knowledge of the ancient Vedic and yogic systems of meditation through self-study and learning under his spiritual masters. He utilizes this during transpersonal consulting, transcultural consulting, and intuitive pre-sensing sessions, both personal and in workshops. He has worked in the West for several years and continues to do so, offering a unique convergence of the context of the West and the ancient living knowledge of the East. He has served as a spiritual guide for HELP, a corporate leadership program of CBS executive under Copenhagen Business School, Denmark. He is actively engaged with the project on mind, sciences, meditation, and innovation, also under CBS. Welcome, Mr. Pawan Kumar Mishra on our show. Mr. Mishra, you have heard what Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran has spoken, as well as what Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal has spoken. Now, we would like to know your views about the importance of education. Mr. Pawan Kumar Mishra, please. Please unmute, please unmute. Yes, please.
I have had the pleasure of and the honor of listening to two stalwarts in the field of education speak before me. I wish to take the listeners into a bit of a detour on education. Education, this word education, is derived out of ducato in Latin. And ducato means a gold coin. Ducato means gold coin. Ducation means to make a gold coin, the gold coinness of a person. Education would mean the process by which you turn a person into a gold coin. Simple meaning. So there are two layers to it. One layer is the practical livelihood side of the person, where he can earn gold coin, where he can contribute to the process of making a better world in some way or the other using his skills. That is one side of it, which is primarily also the, I should say, 100% focus of education, modern education today. And then there is a huge other side of education, which is turning a person into a golden human being, a human being of value, where the person himself has been goldified, you know. And this aspect of the human beingness is largely ignored, except for some value education or ethics classes, etc., that we impart in our modern education system. In my mind, I'm not from the field of education directly. The whole of of modern education forms the tip of the iceberg only, because that only provides us skills to live in this world, buy bigger cars, make bigger cars, buy bigger homes, make bigger homes, create brands and use them for our consumptions. It's a small part of livelihood. The larger part of education, of goldifying a human being, remains untouched. And therefore, human beings today are competing with robots and AIs in terms of jobs and things like that. So, which was not the goal. The goal was to create human beings who would live in harmony, where an outdated system of settling things through disputes and wars would be history, but which is not so. These educated human beings, the system of education is producing nuclear scientists who make nuclear bombs, not knowing what they will do with that ultimately. Here, my submission is that this large part of education, of goldifying a human being, must be addressed within the future education system that we as a generation have to build up along with the government and other agencies, which is not only limited to educating young ones with values, but infusing values within the very veins and DNA of human beings of tomorrow. You will all appreciate that one simple learning, which is from the Bible, and I quote Jesus on that, who says, "Do unto others what you want others to do unto you." This one sentence has been educated to all of us for generations over the last 2000 years. But out of 8 billion people on this planet, I don't know how many of the educated ones practice it. The uneducated ones still practice it. Doing unto others what you want others to do unto you. For example, in the Zulu tribe, the greeting is known as Ubuntu. Ubuntu means I am because you are. This sentiment of life that I am because you are is not being taught in the schools. And therefore, all the talk, all of education today is so lopsided, so micro-focused only on the tip of the iceberg of life, that the overall education has been ignored and is out of balance. In my book, Living Hanuman, I have proposed a word. It is known as I value. I-V-A-L-Y-O-U. It's a compound word I created. I value. A sentiment by which we interact with each other. Human being to human being, human being to other beings, human being to earth, and as a human being to myself. Today, all of these 4 types of relationships, including the relationship with oneself, has become unhealthy. And we are all adults here. We know what we are talking about. It is not to criticize. It is where we stand today. The definition of success. In fact, right in the beginning, sir, you said pursuit of happiness. Now, pursuit of my next book is known as Living Happiness. It is under publication. Pursuit of happiness is such a huge misnomer. It's part of the fundamental rights in the American Constitution. But the moment you make happiness a pursuit, it totally evades you. And that's the reason why we are at the bottom of the list of happiness. If in India we could understand, and I would want to make this point today on World Happiness Day, that the word happiness should be replaced with the Hindi word sukha. We all are aware of this word, sukha. Happiness sounds as something that you pursue, and if you do 5 things or 10 things, you will get there. Sukha, on the other hand, means, su means a good, benefit, beneficial, benevolent, su. Kha means space, inner space. Sukha means a harmonized inner space. If we could ducatify individuals, if we could goldify individuals to come to an understanding, if we could educate individuals about this beautiful inner space, which is constantly, perennially, all the time available accessible to them, the whole concept of pursuing happiness will become obsolete. There is no pursuit of happiness. Therefore, to call it a pursuit of happiness is self-defeating in the first place, because you will never get there. But to turn the whole attention inward and ducatify individuals, to fill them with the golden glow of education within, that would be a major leap in education going forward. And this is only my humble submission, with total understanding that we all are on the same page, trying to fill the jigsaw puzzle and understand the jigsaw puzzle of education, the multifaceted aspects of it. This is one of the hidden aspects of education. Thank you for this opportunity, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pawan Kumar Mishra, for giving your definition of happiness with and linked with the education. And that is a very, very innovative concept, I must say, that the education can give happiness. Although what we are seeing in the world is that because of the too much of education, the people have more expectations, and that more expectations give the unhappiness. And that is what is happening today. But now you have mentioned this. So definitely in the next round, we are going to discuss about this point with you. Thank you very much, Mr. Pawan Kumar Mishra, for giving your views. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Dr. Rukhsana Hassan. Dr. Rukhsana Hassan is a renowned psychologist, trainer, coach, motivational speaker, a special educator for early childhood education and development, a specialized counselor for the drug abusers and alcoholic with an experience of 28 years in rehabilitation center. She holds a PhD in social work and humanity from USA, postgraduate in Master of Arts from Mysore University, postgraduate in dietetic health educator from St. John's, Bangalore, and postgraduate in human rights, New Delhi. Her second PhD from Mother Teresa University in counseling psychology. Presently, she is doing her third PhD in applied science from Rajasthan University. She completed her research in a project about CSW in Bangalore city under Women and Child Development, Government of Karnataka. She has done research about addictive personality, child's development psychology, CDP. It was done with the Children of Observation Home Boys, Government of Karnataka. For the outstanding service towards humanity, she was awarded Indra Priyadarshini Award. She is the nominee of Kittur Rani Chennamma, Government of Karnataka, as the best social worker. She was awarded by Art Mantram Bangalore for Go Green Bangalore. She won Women's Achiever Award of N.A. Harris Foundation, Bangalore. She has presented her papers at many international conferences at Turkey, Istanbul University, and Egypt, trained teachers in Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Hyderabad, Pune, and all over Karnataka. She was the counselor in charge of Karnataka State Counseling Center as an advisor for the Karnataka State Minority Commission from 2011 to 12, and also has designed pilot projects for the Government of India and Government of Karnataka. She is the founder chairperson of the first rehabilitation center. She is the first minority woman in India, to have started such a unique, challenging program. She designed mobile computer and training units with the help of Ministry of Labor, which benefits for the minority girls who are denied education for various reasons. Her title is Smiley Girl of the Town. She builds a new dawn in the darkest dusk, just with positive smile. Welcome, Dr. Rukhsana Hassan, on our show. Dr. Rukhsana Hassan, please unmute yourself. Today is the International Happiness Day, and you are termed as a smiley girl of the town, and you always give a very positive smile, which you are giving right now also. Now, you have heard Dr. Rukhsana Hassan, you have heard our previous panelist, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, as well as Mr. Pawan Kumar Mishra. Now, we would like to know from you the importance of education. Dr. Rukhsana Hassan, please.
Yes, very good morning to one and all, to all the co-panelists, and a very happy day. And I thank Goel for bringing smiles on all our faces on the screen. Okay. What is the importance of education? I think that's a very huge question for a very small personality like me. But only one thing I would ask, tell what I have seen and experienced with my drug addict patients or the families, the businessmen and other things. The only thing I would like to put little focus on what exactly education is. You have to ask an uneducated man who has the power, who has the position, who has wealth, who has health, who has name, and is a very big person in the society. End of the day, when you go and ask, कैसे हो जी, क्या मैडम जी आप इतना अच्छा बात करती हैं, हम लोग के पास तो कुछ नहीं, हम तो अंगूठा छाप है. So when you come to know about what exactly is angotha chap, only then we know, oh my God, I don't have anything, but still, only with the 2 letters, 3 letters and the 4 letters after my name carries so much of value, carries so much of weightage in my life. And the weightage that, is also having the influence on other people, in spite of me having nothing of what that person is having, that person tells me, Madam ji, aap to mahan hai. So that's a very huge thing what we get, when small personalities like us, when we get that, that's a huge statement for us. Secondly, I like to say over here is, especially coming from a minority background, and with the so-called very pious, the women, the girl child has not been allowed to go to school, and the girl child, the lady has not been allowed to work, and with all these kind of backgrounds, if I go back and stand, now I'm already 50 plus, when I go back to the sisters, to the brothers, to all the other family members, when I join there in a group of a family function, the only thing I have been acknowledged and addressed, she is highly educated. And even for the smallest thing, when I was neglected in my teenage and other things, today, even for the smallest thing, even if they have to buy a small thing, the first thing they will call and ask, Bhabhi, I want to buy this, what should I? They'll say, Didi, I want to buy this, what should I do? So they know that I have the information because I can read and write and know what is good and what is bad. These are the two differences what I can tell, that when a man has everything and he has no education, he is just a zero. And when you are educated among the uneducated, you feel that you're a hero. So from a zero, how you have to be a hero? It is just with that education what I can. A very simple example I'm giving. But once in education, that shows his personality, that shows his way of living. जब हम लोग पानी भी पीते हैं या खाना भी खाते हैं, how an educated person is and how an uneducated, how his behavior. Only with the behavior we find, okay, this is what an education, that's the change. Education is nothing but the change within you. Education is nothing but the living style of you. Education is a must for each and every person. Now the question is, what kind of education? Are we really educated to deal with the particular subject of what we are dealing? Especially as a sexologist, when people talk to me about this particular subject, highly educated people, how do I speak about sex? How do I consult this with sex? There may be n number of people who are suffering with this thing, but are we educated to that level that we are there to ask few questions? Are we having the courage of conviction to say, yes, this is what I'm going to ask? So this is more important for me on this day, on this panel, to tell the viewers and the panelists what education is important. Even at the same time, the same subject is more important. Like as a sexologist, if I have to speak about anything related to sexual life, I have to be educated with that, and I have to have that easy form to walk on that particular subject. So that's more important. Or if I'm an educationist, if I have to deal with my student, I should understand the management of my student. In what way my student can learn? How important is education for me to educate that person? And I'm very happy to tell that, I'm still a student and I'm still a learner. That is what, the influence of education is, that I'm still a learner and I'm still a student on this platform. I have learned so many things now from the three panelists who have already spoken, and one Manisha with all her smile. I'm still looking forward to learn few things from you. So education plays a major role in everyone's life, as far as we know what we are doing and what we are talking about the education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rukhsana Hassan, for giving your views so frankly about the education. And she has very, very clearly mentioned that there is a lots of difference between an educated and uneducated person. Even in one own family, one can very well see how the educated person behaves, how he eats or she eats, and how the person gets respect from those who are not lucky to be educated. Thank you very much, Dr. Rukhsana Hassan. Definitely, I will ask about your education because you are so highly educated. So we will have to ask the questions to you in the next round. Now, I'm going. Thank you very much, Dr. Rukhsana Hassan. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and she is Dr. Manisha Bose. Dr. Manisha Bose is a lecturer of Assumption University, Thailand. She is into corporate training and specializes in cross-cultural communication at pedagogical and corporate level, aiming to improve job performances at various levels. Her expertise lies in training Indian employees, collaborating with Thai companies to awareness, Thai culture and Thai work culture. Her expertise also extends in training learners of South Asian culture and work culture to facilitate greater collaboration. She has vast experience of teaching and corporate training in reputed institutions in India. Welcome, Dr. Manisha Bose, on our show. Dr. Bose, you have heard our earlier panelists, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, Mr. Pawan Kumar Mishra, as well as Dr. Rukhsana Hassan. Now, we would like to know your views on importance of education. Dr. Manisha Bose, please.
Namaste and good morning. And each one of you was so articulate. It was beautiful hearing you, and I agree with everyone what you all said. Today, I would just like to share my experience because I see education at grassroots level developing. Now, education is important. We even when we talk in our daily lives, we do recognize the importance of education. So often we are seen saying, he's so educated and still he behaves like that, or she's so educated, still she thinks like that. So education itself comes innately that a person who's educated will have a certain amount of behavior. And I have seen education at every level in any country, all across society, only doing good for the society. I would like to share my experience as a lecturer at Assumption University, which is an international university, where I deal with students who are not only Thai students, but they are Japanese, Korean, Indonesian, Cambodian, coming from Laos, some coming from developed countries, some coming from underdeveloped countries, some coming from developing country and coming to Thailand to study. Now, my university being an international university, students are a little more from the privileged class. But once they are in the institution, there is a oneness. Since my department is responsible for English of all the students who join ABAC. So they are from different faculties. Some are from engineering, architecture, business English. They all come under one roof, and we see the growth through education. And the growth does not only take place in their grammar or in their organization, but in their content itself. So this can only take place when they are all getting education. Education is a great kind of a leveler. Now, from this international university, I would like to share with you my association with another academic institution where I'm the academic advisor there. This is a degree college in the village, which is my ancestral village called Bashapur. This is in a small place called Bashapur, which is between Banaras and Allahabad. And this is a degree college, Professor Ramnath Pandey Degree College, which was started 12 years ago. Now, there were educational institutions there, there were degree college, and it was not called boys degree college, but girls didn't attend those degree college. They would drop out after school for whatever reasons, for safety, or, you know, parents had mental block. And those institutions did make a difference, because those other institutions were there where boys got education, they made informed decision to send their girls to this college. But in 12 years, we have mapped the difference between in the whole society because of education. The girls, most of the girls are farmers' daughters. They have become very aware of their own right. Now, in a society like Uttar Pradesh, where gender biases are a very common thing, a brother and sister never get equal treatment. Today, girls talk about it. They, even if their voice is not very strong in protesting about it, some may be strong, some may be weak, but they are aware and they are not accepting this. It is not acceptable to them. That itself is awareness. They talk about it to their sibling, they talk about it to their mother, to their parents, and there is a conversation of this difference going on. Again, Uttar Pradesh is a very, very casteist society, you know, where there is Brahmin, where there is Banya, where there is Chamar. These are kind of, you know, people studying together. So all these children come and become absolutely casteist society when they study in an institution. And this oneness also translates in the society later. And, you know, the energy I see in the girls there and the energy I see in the international university that I teach, education gives them same amount of energy, same amount of, you know, the desire to progress. These girls, for them, studying Hindi itself was a big thing. Their mothers cannot speak Hindi because it's an Avdhi belt. Everyone speaks Avdhi. They don't even come to college to attend meetings because they don't know Hindi. But these girls have studied Hindi and they have shown me the desire to study English. They want computer knowledge. And this whole awareness that education has got and brought the social change, I think that is very empowering and very enduring to see. So I don't know if all the girls can translate their degree into any financial benefit, but definitely they are empowered for the social change. Now, as I move from the education at this level in my corporate training level, also as Mohan Agarwalji said that, you know, education is a journey. I see that journey continues. People who are in the corporate world, they are also always trying to educate themselves, you know, update themselves, because if you don't, you're stagnated. Your company, your growth is stagnated. So this journey continues. So for me, education is very beneficial, but having said the amazing part of the education, I would also say that our education system overall does lack in some things, because we are also a part of the problem that this system has created. We still are in the phase of survival of the fittest, where we are making our students you know, competitive. But what happens, there is also a flip side to it. This whole overachievement that we pressurize them, it is also creating problems like fear, anxiety, depression, suicidal cases. They are on rampant increase. This is also a part of the system that we are in. And that is where Pawanji said that some amount of deep thinking we need to do to make our education a bit value-based education, because it is very important that people who, everybody can't be the best, but what happens to people who are average? There has to be a deep thinking done, and there it has to be symbiotic. Teacher, student, administration, curriculum, all need to come together and bring that change. And that change is important. Otherwise, we will keep on. We don't need to make individual who are carbon copies of each other. We need to give importance to individual. And this will only come in some amount of social, cultural way. And we have to find a way to do it, because certainly somewhere with our system of education, we are still not reached where we should have reached. And this is my take on the education. And I feel while it is very important, we need to make it better to reach where it should reach, where we can handle, even like as a teacher. You know, as a teacher, I should not only value my bright student, I should also value my weak student. I should also value and try to empower my worst student. This kind of value infusion has to be done in our education system to make it better. So not denying the importance of education, I just want the education should continue to grow itself, as education itself is a journey. Thank you. That's all I would like to say.
Education itself is a journey, says Dr. Manisha Bose. Thank you very much, Dr. Manisha Bose, for giving your views. And you have given the example how the girls have been educated in a remote village of UP, and the conditions of the UP you have explained. I will like to inform you as well as the viewer. One word which you have used is not allowed to be used in India as per the laws. So I am saying that that word is by mistake. She has been this. So please take that word as a consider that word has not been spoken by her and it is a deleted word. Thank you very much, Ms. Dr. Bose, for giving your views. Now my question goes to Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran, you are saying, and every one of you were talking about importance of education. And you said you have given the practical exam, the practical illustration about how the one side we are talking about importance of education. The other side, recently there is a circular by the AICTE which says the mathematics and physics are not compulsory for the engineering student. It's an optional. Now, I am asking you, if one side we are talking the importance of education, and engineers, you might be knowing very well that engineers, all the basic of an engineer is the mathematics, and other side, the organization, the controlling of all the engineering or diploma colleges the institutions called AICTE. They are saying very clearly, sorry, there is a phone call somewhere, disturbance is coming. Please mute yourself.
Good.
Yeah.
Anku, phone. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. So one side, we are talking about the importance of education. The other side, such type of circulars are coming. So it shows that there. Yes, Dr. Saran, are you there? Are you with me or?
I am with you.
Okay, now. So one side, we are talking about the importance of education. The other side, the government of India realized that the education is not important, and that's why they are saying that the mathematics and physics are not necessary to be taught or those who wants to become engineer. What is your take about this? You have time, sufficient time, 3 to 5 minutes, you can speak.
I think I should be very grateful that you brought this momentous question on the table right now. I feel very, very deeply about this one. And I will, mention this. Begin with a Renaissance period example. Renaissance started in the 14th century and ended somewhere in the 19th century. There was a man called Michael Faraday. All of us know it because we study about him in school. I want to underscore one fact that in his time, government did not get involved into education at all. Education was totally a private sector activity. Notice also that there was nothing like regulation. There was no bodies in anywhere in the world like AICTE and University Grants Commission in those days. Michael Faraday has the misfortune of losing his father early, and therefore at age 12, 13, he went to work for a bookbinder. Therefore, he could get only 4 years of education. Today, PhDs are granted by dozens on his induction theory. And today I am sitting and talking to you because electrical energy is readily available to us. Second example I want to give you is of Dalton. Dalton was doubly as much educated as Faraday. So Dalton went to class 8 and then he had to drop out because he had again to support his family. Now notice this. two examples. Has AICTE, by including a subject or excluding a subject, increased the percentage of Michael Faradays and Daltons being produced by our education system? The resounding answer is no, thank you. So we take our own conclusions from there. Then the second thing which I want to underscore here before the respected panelists and our viewers is this. We are talking about importance of education. Michael Faraday won't have benefited the whole mankind without taking the onus on his own shoulders to get all the benefits education can provide, which will happen only when he realized by his own thinking the importance education has. Michael Faraday's life story, you know that the who is who of that age wrote their ideas, and the manuscript came to a bookbinder. Since he was bookbinder's associate, he read those manuscripts in the night and bound them and then gave it to back. And then he set up his own experiments, and this is where you and I are. So if we want to reclaim the glory of education, Mr. Goel, we'll have to learn not from only the authors who write our textbooks and teachers who stand before us in the classroom. We will have to learn from the life of the great people like Michael Faraday and Dalton. These are amazing stories, and I will urge our viewers particularly to take some time off and really realize the importance of education is to the 5th degree, which I mentioned. Use a solvent for extracting every grain of goodness in this orange fruit. The second thing which I want to mention here is, why will I be worrying about importance of education? Why at all? See, the God will give me only that much and then stay back. When he makes us human beings, he expects that as the best creature on planet Earth, we will match the responsibility and it will rise to the highest level. Taking the metaphor of a flower, which you send every morning to me, some of them are simply having a physical beauty, delicacy beyond a description. Only poets like Milton can describe those things. But then there is a fragrance, and there is a third thing, and that is where the importance of education is. Without education, I, as a flower, will neither be delicate in beauty, I'll neither have body-pleasing, soul-uplifting fragrance, and much less I'll have nectar and pollens, which will attract and sustain the butterflies which sustain all lives on earth. So this is the importance of education. Our regulators like AICTE, thank God, can only that much good or bad, but actual education continues despite the regulations. Whether they include physics or drop physics engineering, those who want to be Michael Faraday, those who want to be Dalton, those who want to be us, who want to bring in beauty in our life, fragrance in our life, nectar in life, to sustain all other lives, we will do that and will continue to do that. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope the point is
Thank
clear.
you, Dr. Sudhir Saran, but still you have not made it clear whether you agree with the AICT or this decision or not.
I fully disagree. I
Okay,
completely
thank you very
disagree. I completely
Okay,
disagree.
thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. Now, my question goes to Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, you have given example of Mr. Chhabadiya. My question to you is, and right now Dr. Sudhir Saran was talking about fragrance in the beauty. I will give you 10 examples. Aishwarya Rai, Smriti Irani, beauty with fragrance. I can also give it those very intelligent people like Albert Einstein, Walt Disney, Abraham Lincoln. I will also give the corporate leaders like Bill Gates, Rockefeller, even Ajim Premji. I can also give example of leading cricketer Sachin Tendulkar. And one more example of industries is, which is now #1 and going to be #1 in the world very soon, Gautam Adani. When they are not educated fully, and you all wants to preach the youth to be educated, after all, the role models of youth today are these persons. Why? Why the education is so important, Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, when we have so many people who are not educated fully, and they are the role models in all their fields. They are #1. I am not giving the entire list. There are hundreds and hundreds. I can give the list. I know. I will tell you the number of politicians who are not educated. Then why we are talking about the importance of education, Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, please?
Thank you, Dr. Lal. A very nice and relevant question. And the answer, fortunately, is very obvious. And that answer is that these people are very few in number. So therefore, you are able to name them. If the majority was like these people, then your question would have been valid. Right now, we are talking of some fortunate few who are talking like that. The second thing is that these people did have something, and which is to choose the right people to work for them. Did they achieve everything through them? No. They achieved everything through educated people, the people that we are talking about. So what these people had entrepreneurship. These people had risk taking. These people had ability to spot the opportunity and work for it and take the risks for it. So perhaps, with all respect to you, you are mixing up two things in one breath, and one is education and the second is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is something that these people, all the names that you have mentioned, only one thing is in common, and that is entrepreneurship. That doesn't mean that entrepreneurship and education are antithesis. They are complementary to each other. And these people also know Adani added $18 billion in 1 year of COVID, when all other billionaires did not even add so much. How? On the basis of sun-soaked technology, on the basis of many other ventures in which are Adani clones working? No, educated people are working there. So educated people have helped them make money. So therefore, just because these people are successful, therefore they have become role models. These particular role models are for the time being, when they are successful, when they are rich. Where is now Anil Ambani? Where is now other people whom we used to know in Dhoot? Because these people were also at that particular time role models, but all of them fallen by the wayside. And by the way, in the case of Anil Ambani, he was also very highly educated. So it wasn't that he was just like his father. So point which I'm trying to make, sir, here is that just because a few people have certain abilities of entrepreneurship, being successful, and they also needed educated, literate, technically educated people that we are talking about. They had something which others did not have, and that is risk-taking ability. That risk-taking ability and antithesis education, combining the two will be a mistake. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay.
Thank you.
But only thing is, so you mean to say, Professor Dr. Mohanlal, don't take it otherwise.
No, I'm not.
If you have a risk-taking capacity, so no need of education, you can become a very big entrepreneur.
No, I never said that.
I'm inferring.
Definitely not. I'm saying that. No. There are many educated people also who took risks. The point which I'm trying to say that just because some people took risk, became successful, that doesn't make the point that education is not necessary. That's the only thing I'm saying.
But Professor Dr. Mohan Agrawal, I am taking the name of those. We have to follow. See, either we have to become a leader or a follower. I am taking the name of leaders. So according to
I'm
you,
sorry, Goel Saab, you are taking the names of the famous icons. You are not taking the names of very, very educated people who are also very successful, but they are not of the level of Gautam Adani. Even in Bangalore itself, there are many people who are IIM educated, IIT educated, and they have also taken the risk, and they have also become millionaires and probably smaller billionaires. The point which I'm trying to say, sir, here is education is necessary, and it just doesn't become less necessary because some not so educated people became successful. This is the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Goel,
I
would like to jump in.
Next round I will take you. Don't worry. Next round I'm coming to you. Now my question goes to Mr. Pawan Kumar Mishra. Mr. Mishra, you mentioned about that the India, when we are talking about the happiness and everything. There was a time when in India, people used to come from abroad, foreigners used to come to take the education, to take the peace, to take the happiness. And we have seen whether it was in Varanasi, Rishikesh, and many, many places in India where they were coming, and earlier Nalanda University. Then what happened today? That we are far behind in all these fields. If we see either this report which UNO has released Friday, that is yesterday only, is a false report, because we always have a tendency to blame that this report is false. But if not, then why the trend has changed? Why the foreigners are not coming now? We know the famous Beatles used to come here. We know many, many names. Again, Professor Dr. Mohan Agrawal said that you are giving few icons name. I have to give few icons name because those names only people knows. Like Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran has put some name, two names, Dalton and what is that name? I don't know the other name, what he has mentioned. So my point is we have to take those names.
Because in his case also, those two names are not very well known. Even though he said that they are very much known, but they are not very much known.
Okay, Professor Agrawal, we will come afterwards. Now, my question to you is, why, whether the importance of education in India has gone down, that we are now thinking, we are like what question I asked Dr. Mohan Agrawal, and he has replied nicely, that we are following those icons without knowing their other skills. And that's why we are not taking the importance of education in spirit, or our level of education has gone down. Mr. Please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself. Mr. Yes, please unmute. Yes, please.
Thank you for this question. I would have, there would be many reasons to address the question why. It's a very, very huge subject. Still, I will begin with reason number one. It's the third law of thermodynamics. It says entropy in any system increases. Entropy means you can call it disturbance or chaos. Any system which is in order becomes chaotic over a period of time. And it has not only happened in India, but all ancient civilizations, like that of Egyptians or like that of the Romans, Greco-Roman, all these civilizations finally got wiped out. I'm not saying we will get wiped out. I'm just saying that the experience of chaos within our civilization is following the law of entropy. That's the law of physics. But if we go to a more tangible, more experiential reason, the more experiential reason is that for the last 2 or 3 generations, we in India, we have redefined success as emulating a high life, which is more oriented towards all the physical, what we call suvidha, conveniences of life. So the more accumulation of conveniences, the more successful we consider ourselves. And all of that needs money ultimately. So that is one side of it. The other side of it is we somehow hang on to our very old cultures and mindsets with one hand, like in a Mumbai local. Somehow we hang on to that. And those are things like having a great marriage for your daughter, a great marriage for your son, Upanayan sanskar, Shradha sanskar, this sanskar, that sanskar, and all of that also takes huge amount of money. And therefore, all our energies are focused on chasing money, how to make more and more money at the cost of ethics. We are also, if there is a score on corruption, India will also stand very low or high on that, depending on how you're rating it. But if we rate it from the most honest country to the most corrupt country, India will also unfortunately come to a very low level of rating there. So low level of rating on honesty, integrity, low level of rating on also happiness. You'll find that somehow or other. And we as a whole nation have become a nation of hypocrites. We show something, we do something. We say something, and therefore in man kram vachan dhyan jalai. Thought, word, and action, they're all dispersed. Once again, we have to gather pride in just being a good human being who is sitting there, smiling together, holding hands together, sharing what we have at a little, at whatever level. That until it gets a central place in people's life. And unless we begin to recognize that as success, I think we will continue to slip or stay where we are. There's no way we can make up on the ladder from 139 even to 138, even to 138.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Mishra, for explaining. Now my question goes to Dr. Rukhsana Hassan. Dr. Rukhsana Hassan, you are doing the third PhD. Congratulations to you. But don't you think people always say, there is a saying that too much of everything is harmful. So don't you think too much of education is harmful, number one? And number two, what virtue this education is instilling? You mentioned about the minorities, but if you see everywhere, what we are seeing nowadays, hating each other, hatred has been coming in our community, our country. We are, the easiest example I will give you, that West Bengal elections with only 23 districts, 8 phases. It shows that 3 districts can hold in the entire country, only 3 districts can hold election in one day. It shows that we are so intolerant, become so intolerant, and Bengalis, and to be very frank, I don't know whether Dr. Bose is a Bengali or not, but Bengalis are supposed to be very educated and very cultured person. So do you think the more education is harmful, Dr. Rukhsana Hassan?
A very nice question. You can see what we have to see. If you have education in various fields, and joker of all and master of none, that shouldn't be the education. Today, any engineer, he comes up on a platform and say, I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a life coach, I'm a counselor, I'm this and that. Yes, I have high respect and high regards for what he or she is doing. But am I delivering what exactly I am studying? See, when I did my first PhD, I knew that I lacked a place where I have to do counseling. So it's not that just because I have a post-graduation of psychology and sociology, I can just go and do the counseling. No, counseling has its own skills, has its own parameters where I have to be qualified if I have to deliver that. Okay, again, after that, after my 2 PhDs, I'm doing my early childhood. What I was lacking, why exactly is this problem in the initial PhD, in my second PhD, where I found that, if I have to do something to materialize the first to PhD, I have to know what exactly is a child's life in the early childhood of the child. The teenage is the reflection of your childhood. The adult is the reflection of your teenage. If your childhood has not been stabilized, you can see the instability of the teenage. If your teenage is not that, that is where you find, chemical substance abusers, drug addicts, many other addicts. If I have to name the number of addicts, it will take about half an hour for me to name it. Any kind of imbalance, that is the time when it is in teenage. Why teenage? Because of the childhood. So that is where I'm doing this. So each one of my studies is correlated with the previous studies. So somebody does that, maybe by the time when I'm 60, if I write even 2 pages of whatever I have written, whatever I have studied, for the person who reads that 2 pages is equivalent to the 3 PhDs what I do. So if a person is highly educated, he can put the gist of what exactly it is. As you rightly mentioned, today, not only the adult, not only the politicians, not only the teachers, not only the student, the whole environment has become, the tolerance level is becoming zero. That's the reason, we have so many haste decisions. That's the reason we jump companies. That's the reason we jump schools. We see even when the teachers are there for the interviews, every year she has been changing. What is the reason? She's not able to accept. The tolerance is not there. So if you have to build up the tolerance level, you have to have the actual education. Okay. Unless and until you don't find that actual education, even if you do 10 PhD, it's of no use. Okay. That's why I say, highly educated is not a person which brings poisonous thing, but it brings amrit. It brings the actual sense what you want. Okay. That is why I feel, maybe after this PhD, I may stop or what, I don't know. No, we wish that you should do more and more PhDs. Thank you very much, Dr. Rukhsana Hassan. Now, my last question goes to Dr. Manisha Bose. Dr. Manisha Bose, do you think Indian education system is not good as in the other countries, or Indian students are not understanding the importance of education?
Okay, the first thing, my apologies for using that word, but I would also like okay, but people are living that reality, and only education can help us to get out of the reality. Now, yes, Indian education system is based on Western education system. Indian education system needs to change. For example, we have a lot of rote learning. We are not focused on understanding. The competition is excess. Indian students perform the best everywhere. Even in my university, if there is an Indian student, we know that the students is going to shine. So definitely we are very good, but we need to change our education system. We need to add more value to our education system, making it more individual based, more understanding based. And as Rukhsana ji and Pawan ji both have also mentioned, the true education has to be modified. And I don't think anything is wrong in our education system, but with a little modification, we can excel and we can do much better. And I think that we would be one of the best in the world.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Bose. Now I am giving you 30 seconds, Dr. Sudhir Saran. You wanted to make a point, otherwise you will blame me. Yes, please, only 30 seconds. Yes, please.
The education is so important, not only by man's will, but by God's will, that God said, if you wanted education, you are not dependent on anything else except the desire to learn. So this is the point I wanted to make, that even if people did not go to school, they will have everything which life has to offer to them. They'll be able to extract all the juice from this one. Okay. And if they go to some amount of education, like Michael Faraday, whose name we had difficulty for, I'll take few seconds, I'll finish.
Yeah, okay.
So Michael Faraday got 4 classes of education and, produced wonders for mankind. So when we are talking about importance of education, we are not dependent on formal education, Eastern or Western system. We are dependent only on our will, our drive to educate ourselves, and all the God's goods, they will come to us in life. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. So today you have seen the importance of education. It's not that one person is going or a student is going and taking education in school or college, but they should understand that education is very, very important for every sphere of the life, whether it is in family, whether it's in a business or in service or politics, or even in spiritualism or the religion. If you are educated, you can change the society, you can become a leader. As one of our panelists, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal, correctly said that entrepreneurship is a different thing, but if you have the education also, then it will become a very, very positive combination, and you can rule. You can be a successful person. You can become yourself a role model. But thing is that one should understand the importance of education. And if we will start understanding importance of education, as Mr. Pawan Kumar Mishra has mentioned, we will regain the glory, past glory of our India, which was the global leader of the entire world. Rather, we are the guru of the entire world. So if we have to come back to reach to that, we should understand that education is the most important thing in this world. And the reality, one very well see today, that the vaccine, the corona vaccine, is the game changer, and India is leading because of the education. If our scientists are doing it, if they have manufacturing, invented, done the research, because, and our medical is fraternity, their dedication, because of their education. So the education is very important even for saving our lives. Thank you very much today. Such a enlightening discussions and conference we had. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon se Samvad Sarokar News, as well as was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to enlighten you every day with a new topic. But tomorrow is a very, very special day for Media Conference with Lal Goel, because Media Conference with Lal Goel is completing 1 year of its the show. And how? Because it started on 22nd of March 2020, when our Honorable Prime Minister declared the Janta curfew. From that day, it started. Initially, it was thrice a week. Then it became 6 days a week. And within no time, with the demands of the public, it became a daily program. And with all the wishes of you, all the viewers, and all those who have appeared, the panelists, we could succeed with all the entire team of ours, all the media persons, those who are working day and night to make it successful. Media Conference with Lal Goel completed 1 year. To celebrate first year anniversary, we have tomorrow very, very special program, which will be the first year anniversary celebration. And we will be joining by two very leading, promising singers. One is Miss Sangeeta Nair, renowned stage performer, wealth relationship manager. Here also you can see the education plays a very important role. She is a wealth relationship manager from Mumbai. And another is Mr. Jeevan Kohli, classical singer. He is assistant manager finance Air India. Again, education plays an important role. He's also joining from Mumbai. So to celebrate the first anniversary celebration of Media Conference with Lal Goel, please do join tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Thank you very much, Professor Dr.
Wish you second fruitful year. Wish you second.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Sudhir Saran. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Mohanlal Agrawal. Thank you very much, Mr. Pawan Kumar Mishra. Thank you very much, Dr. Rukhsana Hassan. And thank you very much, Dr. Manisha Bose, for joining us and enlightening all of us. And thank you all the viewers for watching this such a enlightening, educative, I must say, the conference, highly volatile, highly, I must say, very informative, educative, and on the importance of education. Thank you all the viewers. Thank you.